Today, we're putting together a delicious loaf of bread. And in fact, we're going to do two. And I'm going to first talk about some of the things that you may want to have in order to accomplish this. Now, let me say early that all of the recipe is down in the description box so that you can make one loaf rather than two. Now, you might want to have a scale. A scale is going to make your measurements so much more accurate, and they're really very inexpensive. You can buy them on Amazon, on Walmart. In fact, I have them down in my Amazon storefront, and I have several, so depending upon what your spending point is, you'll be able to work that out. You're also going to want a large bowl. This one just happens to have a lid for it, and I like that because I'm able to close it up and keep anything that may accidentally fall into my dough into this bowl. Now, here I have water, and I've already pre-measured. I have 675 grams of water. I have my starter, and I've placed them into little bowls. Don't ask me why I did that, but I did. And I have 100 grams, actually it's 200 grams because I'm doing two loaves, 200 grams of starter here. I have 1,000 grams of all-purpose flour. Now, if you are a bread flour person, you can certainly use bread flour, or you can even use a combination of half and half of bread flour or regular flour, and it works. Now, my secret weapon for this recipe is white vinegar. We're going to add a teaspoon of white vinegar to the dough. And in fact, I'm going to add it into the water so that it will disperse all throughout the loaf. And I know you're going to want to know why vinegar. Now, what vinegar is going to do is that it's going to let your loaf last longer. It's going to stay soft longer. It's going to improve that texture. And those are the types of things that you want to happen, because the typical loaf without the vinegar will probably hold maybe 3 days. But by the third day, you're going to really start to see that things are going to start to get stiff. Of course, you can use it for toast. You can even cube it up and make little cubes to put on your salad that you can toast. Or you can even blend it and have it for breadcrumbs. So, let's get started. Now, my bowl is empty. And one thing I forgot to show you was my bench scraper. This is the go-to item. This one happens to be a King Arthur, but you know, they have them at the Dollar Tree. You can get two for $1.25, and in fact, they're red like the typical Dollar Tree items, kitchen items. So first, let's put in our 675 grams of water. Okay, we've got that. We're going to add a teaspoon of vinegar. And in fact, you could just do, depending upon the size of your bottle, you could just do a capful. But for your purpose, I'm going to measure 1 teaspoon. Okay. Got our vinegar in, give that a little stir. It's not going to affect the sourdough whatsoever. Okay, from there, I'm going to take out my starter, and we're going to get the starter into our, this is a very happy starter. That's 100. And a little bit bubbled over, so we'll get that out as well. But we have the other 100. I measured them out separately just in case I decided to do only one loaf at the last minute, but you know, I'm going to do two. So we've got our starter in, and I had just a little bit left in the bottom, and I'm going to get that out as well because we don't want to leave any behind. Now I'm going to dissolve this into the water. Next, we're going to add a 1/4 cup of sugar. Let's get that mixed. All right, got our sugar in, got our vinegar in. And what we haven't added will be the salt. And we'll add that toward the end. So now we're going to start to add the flour. Now we're just going to add a little bit at a time. I'm going to do mine in thirds. Add another third. You can see at this point it's fairly easy to mix, but you'll feel it tighten up as we go. Okay, and the last third. Roll my sleeves up and let's get to it. Now this is where we have to work. You're going to use your muscles, and of course we could do this in a KitchenAid, or any kind of mixer that you have, but you know, for the new home cook, you may not have all of that. And so if not, we're going to learn how to do it, and we're going to learn how to do it by hand, so like our moms did, our grandmothers did, and we're going to do it the old-fashioned way. Now, you might notice that this dough is extremely shaggy, and that's normal. That's what it's supposed to look like. Now, what we're going to do, we're going to take our bench scraper, scrape everything off our spurtle, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to start to just turn it and work it over on itself. I'll get everything off the bottom, because this needs time to get nice and moist. Needs time for all of that moisture to go through it. And then you can actually take your hand after a while and just work it until you get everything in the bowl. Everything is in that ball. Okay. Got everything there. I think we do. Everything's off the bottom. Everything's off the sides. And what we're going to do is let this sit for 30 minutes and just let it hydrate. Let it get nice and moist. And then we'll come back and we'll work with it. So let's cover it, and I'll see you in 30 minutes. So this is where we're going to work. And you're going to be amazed with this, because we're not even going to use any extra flour. So let's get this nice and clean. Okay. And I have a little spray bottle of water. You don't have to have a spray bottle. You could just have a bowl of water that you can put your hands in to keep your hands from getting sticky at the end of our 25 minutes. Now, you know, at this point, it feels totally different because it has started to hydrate, and it's much more soft and pliable. It's not so shaggy. So what we're going to do is that I'm going to spray my hands. And we're going to take this out of the bowl. And we're just going to work with it a little bit. And what I like to do is give it a slap. Going to wake up all those little molecules. And we're just going to keep folding it over on itself. Give it a slap. and stretch. There are all different kinds of methods for stretching. This one's easy for me, and because our surface isn't flour, it gives it a little texture. So we've had a chance to work with this baby. So we're going to put it back in the bowl. We're going to let it sit for another 30 minutes. And at the end of that 30 minutes, we'll do this all over again. This will get cleaned off, and we'll be ready to do it another time. And you're going to see the difference in the feel of your dough. You will also notice that it will start to stretch more easily. And then you'll notice all of a sudden it's going to tighten up. So let's get to that. Our 30 minutes is up. We're going to give our counter another clean up. Get everything up off of it. And we're going to take it out of the bowl. And it feels nice. Now I'm going to use my bench scraper just to get started. And I'm going to scoop it out. Oh, it's so soft. I'm going to bring it out. I'm going to fold it and turn. Stretch and fold it and turn. We're going to stretch it and fold it and turn. Stretch and fold it and turn. Just work with it for a moment. You notice I didn't have to put any water on my hands, and I'm able to work with it. Now, I'm not going to show you the other two stretch and folds, but what we're going to do is that I'm going to then, at the end of the fourth one, I'm going to take this, do just what we did right now. We're going to pick him up, put him into the bowl. What we're going to do is that we've put him in here, we've covered him up, and he's going to go into the refrigerator overnight. And when we bring him out, he'll be ready to shape up, do his second rise, and go into the oven. Are you ready? Let's take it out. Oh boy. Oh. Wow. So nice. I'm going to spritz a little water on my hands. And it's been in the refrigerator, so it's nice and cold. Pretty that is. We're going to do a few folds, little stretching folds. I'm going to stretch it, fold it, stretch it, and fold it. I'm going to stretch it, put a slap, and fold. Now, we're going to cut this in half. Roll it, get it kind of even. Just a little bit. Okay. Whew. Kind of nice. We're going to set that off to the side. Now, you notice I have no flour. I'm going to take this and I'm going to stretch it out into a triangle. Into a triangle. And then we're going to fold it over. Take this side and Fold it over. And roll. Spritz just a little. Roll. Roll it. Then we're going to take it and we're going to tuck it. And tuck it under. Okay? Then we're going to roll it toward us. Roll. Roll it, tighten it up, roll it, roll it, roll, and we get it nice and smooth. Some tongue, nice and smooth, till that surface area gets tight. Okay, there's one. Let me get the parchment. So lay down. And let's tuck it. And we're going to pick him up. I'll put him right there. There we go. All right, on to next. We are preheating the oven to 425 degrees Fahrenheit. And in the oven, we also have the Dutch oven as well, so that it can be very, very hot. I gave it probably about 30 to 35 minutes to get good and hot. And then we'll take it out,
put the bread into it, and you'll notice that I sprinkled sesame seeds on top. And just to do something a little different, give it a different look, something I'm trying. And, you can use sesame seeds. You can even use that everything bagel sprinkles. You could use those as well, or you could leave it plain. And I'm going to just give it a little cut across the top, nothing fancy, and place it into the Dutch oven. Now, the nice thing about making sure that your parchment paper is big enough is it gives you a handle in order to put the bread into the Dutch oven as well as in taking it out. Now, we're going to leave this loaf, and this is different. We're going to leave this bread in the oven for 45 minutes with the top on. You heard that, top on. And at the end of 45 minutes, I'll take the top off, look at it, see if it needs about 5 more minutes of browning, but you're going to have a beautiful loaf of bread. Now, just so you know, that second loaf of bread, I put it in the Dutch oven, took it over to my daughter's house, cooked it over there, and took it out of the oven. Oh my goodness. They couldn't wait for me to let it cool off. I had to cut it before it was ready. But oh my goodness, they devoured that bread. It was so good. I hope you'll make not one but 2 loaves of bread for your family. And don't forget the recipes down in the description box. And I'll see you soon, right here in the kitchen of Ebony, Ivy, and Thyme.